Hi, Rich Fulcher here. Welcome to TalkBox. If you want to subscribe to the podcast, press this button. It's going to change your life. Not really, but it will. All right. So coming up, Boosh fans are going to love this, is none other than Bollo, Dave Brown. He played a lot of other characters, Joey Moose, everything, non-bred, you name it. Let's just hear. It's a lot of fun, a lot of reminiscing, a lot of kissing. You'll see. Anyway, bye.
TalkBox. Rich Fulcher. Rich Fulcher's TalkBox.
It's hot down here.
Is it? What do you want me to do about it?
Can you just
gently... I'll open a window.
Can you gently dab my balls with a damp, cold cloth?
Okay.
You make notes. Have you got notes? Oh, is this started already? Are there people in there? Have you just done my intro?
Yeah.
What did you say?
I said...
You do that after,
male
right?
prostitute, Dave Brown.
Yeah. Most fucked up person you've ever met.
Yeah. No, I'll do whatever you want me to do. Yeah, it's nice.
You could do with I was going to say you could do with some foliage, but you've got some.
Yeah, it's pretty comfortable here. Sometimes it's hot.
Kenny bit me on the way in. Is that?
He does that.
Is that a thing?
It's a sign of affection and fear. He's scared of you. Yeah.
Tetanus.
So, Dave, Kenny. What brings you to London?
Can we talk about Kenny a bit more? Kind of fascinating.
Kenny is fascinating.
Why do you make him sit so high on the umpire's chair?
Well, I like to see him up above. It's easier that way. It's a good
angle.
He can spit on me.
Kenny.
Yeah, Kenny.
What's your surname, Kenny?
Waterson.
This is not the Kenny podcast. Come on, man.
There's a there was a website called lookslikekennyrogers.com. Scooch in, mate. Fucking beauty. Cheers, Rich.
Oh, cheers.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming.
It's an honor.
I didn't think you'd do it, actually.
Well, I'm young and I need the money.
Money?
Yeah, have you seen that website?
Looks like Kenny Rogers.
Yeah, it was just people that would post pictures of themselves if they looked like Kenny Rogers.
He's dead now, though. So
yeah, that's the thing. It's quite morbid now because people just post themselves dead.
Mm-hmm.
Do I need to turn my phone off?
Do you have any other website stories?
Yeah, I've got loads. I've got 10.
Sorry,
is that...
I can't help with that. You can learn more about logging your health data with Siri at apple.com.
What health data?
Don't know. Rich.
Wait, what's the health data you're putting in?
As soon as I'm with you, it tells me to check my health.
Stress level too high.
What's going on there? I just tried to turn you off.
Yeah.
Siri, you fickle.
So you're here for a doctor's appointment in London?
I'm here for a doctor's appointment.
All
you
right.
told me I had to get my prostate checked.
Drop trowel.
Trowel?
Trowel.
Oh, sorry.
So how's everything going? You had to commute. You live up north, right?
I live down south.
Oh, down south. Same thing. Only different.
Close.
Yeah.
Nearly right.
And
on the seaside.
Oh, that's nice.
On the coast.
Yeah.
The English Riviera.
Mm-hmm.
No, not at all. I live in Hastings.
Which is the Brighton of Hastings.
Yeah. And Hastings is the Hastings of Brighton.
But aren't a lot of people moving out there because they think it's they're mistaken?
You tell me. I'm not an estate agent, Rich. Have I got the wrong pod again?
We're here to talk about real estate.
Foxton's pod.
Is how it's
Kenny,
gonna
how
go?
long have you known Rich?
How have we known each other? The start of the year.
Are you allowed to talk on the pod?
No. He's not allowed to do anything. You're disrupting the whole podcast. All right. So, Dave, listen.
Hi, Rich.
You're here for a reason, though. You contacted me about this podcast, right? You're here to plug something,
I want to talk
aren't you?
to you about. It was nice to see Stefan Underfusser make an appearance in Wonka.
Oh, nice. Yes,
Yeah?
the underwater guy,
Ah.
which originated there.
Ah,
Yeah,
thought that was
yeah.
a story we could tell.
Ah!
Huh? Does Kenny know about Stefan?
Listen, I want to go back a little bit,
okay,
though.
cool.
I'd like to get the plug out of the way first.
I haven't got a plug.
You don't? Aren't you doing a book?
Oh, I can do, yeah.
Yeah. You're doing a book,
I've
right?
got several books on the go, Rich.
So not many people know this about you, but in addition to being an actor, a comedic actor,
Long shot.
yep, you are a graphic designer.
I am.
Yeah.
And a picture box taker.
What does that mean,
I don't
graphic designer? What do you do?
I put pictures and words on paper and on screens.
So people
And
come
make
to
'em look
you.
nice. I do a
and-
lot of books these days.
Yeah.
So I was at uni with Noel. That's where I met Noel. We were at art school. I did
I was
photography
gonna
and
ask
graphic
you
design. Say, you should put a list of things I'm not allowed to talk about.
Did you
out of
introduce
order.
him?
Did I introduce
Did you
him to who?
introduce yourself to him, or did he
We
introduce
sat next to
himself?
each other on the first day.
And do you remember the first thing you guys said to each other?
I said to him, "Are you aware of the work of Rich Fulcher?"
Yes! Yes! That's the end! We'll just do that as a bit.
Noel looked he looked like a cross between Bruce Forsyth and Evan Dando. He had this tall,
I'll go
long
with
chin
that.
and like this beautiful long hair.
Oh, he had long hair back then?
Mm.
Okay. And
Yeah, Lemonhead's kind of indie days.
you go, the
had long hair
engineering
as well.
department is that way.
I had long hair as well. We both had long hair.
You did?
Mm.
How did you have a mullet?
No, just long hair. Just long.
How
all the
long?
way. That long.
And so what did you guys become instant friends, or
We couldn't stand each other. We had a fight immediately.
because you're both
Because Nige as well. You know Nige?
yeah,
The wonderful Nigel Cohn, animator of the Boosh.
tell everyone.
Are there people in there?
There's
Nigel-
approximately 57 people in there.
There are two things that is said about our university days that aren't true that always wind me up and wind
Okay.
Nige up. And that is that me and Noel say that when Nige turned up for the first day of art school, he was wearing a tie, which isn't true, but it really winds him up.
Okay.
And the other one that Noel says is that at university at one point I had a goatee beard, which I never had.
Yeah,
That
you
really
might
winds
have.
me up, you know.
You
Anyway.
might have had a beard and then played with it, like you
Never
know how you
played with
shave
it.
stuff.
No, I've only gone full beard to Hitler, and that's
We will not cut that out. It's
um,
not getting cut out.
never went goatee.
So you
Goatee.
guys met, and I thought you lived together in uni.
Yeah, we did.
You
Not in
did.
the first year. I lived with an old man and an old dog in the first year.
Okay, and that was your preference?
That was my preference.
Okay.
I wrote that on my form. He had a Labrador, nice guy, but his dog smelled like, you know, old wet dog.
Yes.
It's just a smell that you can't get rid of. I think it's still in my nose somewhere because I occasionally.
love that smell.
You love it. Oh yeah. It smells a bit like that in here.
It smells like
Is that you or
the
Kenny?
Trappist monk.
It's really. I mean, I know it's got to be a dead
Yeah. And with that comes stink.
stinking heat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got stink
It reminds
heat.
me-
You got stink heat.
It reminds me. You were talking to Mr. Danny Wallace
Yeah?
about. the
You saw
radio.
that?
I watched it.
Thank you.
I watch every episode. I'm subscribed.
Oh, if you want to subscribe, press this button here. Kenny, put that in. There's too much.
We used to call him Pebble Eyes Wallace, didn't we? You know that?
Pablo?
Pebble Eyes.
Oh, Pebble Eyes.
Pebble Eyes, because he's got really dark.
And what did he call you?
I think he knows that. If he
Yeah.
sees this now, that's gonna. I don't think he called me anything.
Okay.
I
So,
never met him.
so you guys were thick. You guys were thick.
Me and Danny Wallace.
Yeah.
No. Noel, Noel, and Nige lived together for the second year and third year of university, and then we moved to London, and we lived in Hackney together.
Because what was so funny was when I first met you guys, I first met Noel and Julian. And then all of a sudden there were all these other guys.
It was a team.
And I was like, what the fuck are these guys?
Entourage.
They're coming around, they're touching me.
Yeah, I was in charge of Noel's socks, and Nigel was in charge of Noel's hair accessories.
But I never really delved into your like past like as much as I should.
So me and like obviously at uni, Noel just wanted to be a stand-up, and
He did?
Yeah,
But he wanted to do art, right?
yeah, he did. But he was kind of always writing comedy, and all his art was comedy based.
Would he tell you that he wanted to do stand up?
Yeah, how would I have known otherwise?
You're a mind reader. I don't
I'm
know.
gonna take my shoes off because my feet feel like they're on fire.
Listen, there's no sarcasm on this show because it goes to some Americans.
Americans get sarcasm.
Oh, they do, yeah.
They've always got sarcasm. Huh?
All right.
Have you ironed this tablecloth?
All right, OCD guest. Come on.
You know I'm OCD, Rich.
Really?
No.
So he wanted to be a comic. What did you tell him you wanted to be?
I always wanted to be a photographer and a designer.
Okay.
But we did some radio advertising scripts. And
I'll occasionally look over.
I was the art director and he was copywriter, and we had to do some radio stuff, which was funny. We did some scripts.
Were you ever in the same classes?
Yeah.
Because
we'd do some stuff and it would get 0 marks because no one understood what the fuck. We had to advertise. We had to advertise a something called Home Fire.
Okay. Not you, Home Fire.
Yeah. Home Fire was the hottest burning, longest lasting fuel for your fire. And we had to do radio ads. And me and Noel wrote a whole bunch of, like, we did one with Dick Turpin, funnily enough. We did one of Sweeney Todd. We did one of Sherlock Holmes and Watson.
These are all famous people.
Apparently. And
Yeah.
I remember the Sherlock Holmes one where it was like, Holmes, come quickly. No, Watson, come quickly, there's been a murder. And then it was Watson said a murder, and he said, well, a fire. It's the hottest burning, longest lasting fuel for your fire.
Nice.
Mrs. Holmes swears by it, and Watson goes, what, by it? And he goes, well, near it. And that was the ad.
I know
Which
this is
genius.
retroactive. You should have done Alexander Graham Bell.
Oh, I nearly knocked that over then, but I thought that would
Shit.
miss your technology.
No. Wrong.
We used to just get laughed out of. We had an American advertising lecturer who hated everything we did. Noel did this amazing kind of Jaffa Cakes thing, which was like this kind of visual installation art piece, which was way ahead of its time, and he got like 1% for it.
Really? See, a lot
But then
of,
you look at that 10 years later, and it's amazing.
in the
Everyone was doing
U.S.,
shit.
we don't understand the art school tradition as much. People didn't go to art school.
What do you do in America?
You go to college and you drink beer and...
What? You don't... There's no such thing as art college.
No, there is. The Talking Heads went to art school, but it's not as common. You know, like you
Good
don't...
band.
Yeah. You don't know that many people that go to art school.
You don't. I know loads.
No, but here, I know loads of people that went to art school. In the U.S.,
Just Talking Heads.
I just know the Talking Heads.
That must have been a very small university if it was just them in the whole of America. I made Kenny laugh. I can leave now.
Kenny loves you.
Jesus,
You're
I'm
killing
stripping
for
off.
Kenny. All right, you satisfied? But the problem is, did it make you want to go into comedy, the fact that Noel...
Me and
Did
Nigel used to
comedy.
we dick around at uni doing stuff. We did we used to sing loads of songs. Nigel played piano, and I used to write and sing songs.
I didn't know that.
So we did like, Hello Little Dear.
Yeah.
I think we might have done that at uni. We did a thing called Heavy Fruit Boots. We did a lot of that. I don't know, little dicking around little stuff. Nigel's got recordings of it all somewhere. And
He
then, but
needs to
Noel would write.
release
Noel was
those.
doing Noel wanted to be a comedian. We had a really good comedy club there called the Hellfire Comedy Club, and we'd go and see like Kevin Eldon, Harry Hill, all that early days, Booby Graffoe, really early.
Oh,
like,
nice.
In the early 90s when they were just starting out. And we saw a guy called Julian Barrett. Have you heard of him?
With the zipper?
Yeah, Zip Hop.
Yeah.
And drinking the lava lamp.
Now, Julian's stand-up was hilarious.
Amazing.
Yeah.
He'd won the Daily Telegraph Open Mic Award and was doing like the circuit. Me, Noel and Nige went to see Julian do that. And then Noel spoke to Julian after.
Well, now, was he nervous when he went up to him? Or did he go, I'm going to talk to
I think we were just in the bar. And I think he was just like, Noel was just obsessed with, I mean, we were total comedy train spotters. Everything we watched was like.
Because of Noel, or you all were?
No, we always was.
Yeah.
Always was. I grew up, my dad was like really into like old school British comedy, like Freddie Starr and mainly Freddie Starr. No, just Freddie Starr. Like, who else? Jesus, I can't remember.
Stephen Fry.
No, that was we were really into, Fry and Laurie was massive for us.
You watched that on the bus a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr.
I
Simnock.
noticed that.
Did you?
And
Were you on the bus?
Your trousers were off. It was weird.
On my own in the bunk.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Fry and Laurie!
Just Fry. Yeah, that Blackadder, I mean, obviously all the Python, what else we used to, just non-stop comedy.
Yeah.
Obviously Vic and Bob.
Vic and Bob, yeah.
Vic and Bob. And then Noel entered that Daily Telegraph Open Mic Award because Julian said you should do it because he just won it.
Sorry.
Don't interrupt me. Jesus, Kenny.
No, here's a rumor I bet Noel hates the rumor is that Noel stalked Julian.
No, it's not true.
Okay.
No. Who was that rumor by?
I spread it. I'm sorry. I'm so fucking sorry.
No, he didn't. I don't think we saw Julian again until Edinburgh.
I always thought Noel went to all his gigs and they talked afterwards and
Might have gone to a couple, but
yeah.
So me and Nige used to go to all of Noel's gigs when he was doing the heats, and he won, and he got finally the final was in Edinburgh.
And was his stand-up kind of the same as it is now?
Yeah, it's pretty odd. I remember one joke that was like, he said he walked past a dog the other day and it started barking at him, and then he got further down the road and it was still barking, and then he got like 2 miles down the road and it was still barking, and apparently the dog had a telescope. And Harry Hill came up to Noel when we were at Edinburgh and said that he really loved that
Can
joke.
I take that
and that
joke?
was like, just like, oh, for
That's
us then.
great.
At the final of the Daily Telegraph Open Mic Award was at
Harry
Edinburgh.
Hill?
He's that guy that does all the nature programs. You know, he wrestles tigers and stuff. I was saying how long we could see if
I
anyone
know,
thought
I blew it.
their
I blew
internet.
it.
You always blow it. Such an unprofessional, Kenny.
Sorry, Kenny.
Noel was in the final with Frankie Boyle.
Was this in Edinburgh or yeah?
Probably.
And did he win or did he come?
Frankie Boyle won.
Yeah.
Flanky Boyle?
Flanky Boyle.
He was just to the right of Frankie Boyle. He was on the side of the stage.
Flanky! No, not Frankie.
But I think Avalon signed him then.
Which was Harry Hill's.
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
You're an estate agent, not me.
So they signed him right after that.
I think so.
And
He
this
did.
is 90s.
Yeah.
Early 90s.
There was a thing. What was that thing called? Him, Chris Addison. Oh, who else? Lee Mack. Lee Mack. Don't be not. Do you Chris Addison make you yawn? Or
No, I like Chris Addison.
not according to the people at home.
No. It's the way you
Are
said
they
it.
at home? Are they? At
They
home?
are. They're
Some people might
in
not
the
be at home.
camera and at home. Yeah.
Do you want that? It's a piece of my toenail. Yeah. Anyway, is that what you asked? Was that the question?
So I'm just trying to get the.
Then they got put
chronology
together.
here, yeah.
So then they went on. They did the Comedy Network together.
What's the comedy
I think I
network?
saw you at Edinburgh. That first year.
What's the comedy network?
It's is that what it's called? Did you not do it? You go around like all the universities and
Oh, right.
this
But
apparently.
that's Avalon, right? That's Avalon's
Yeah,
kind
I
of
think
thing.
so. That's
So-
when him and Julian started doing gigs together. Julian was headlining. He was on the same bill. They realized they liked each other's stuff. They then started writing together, and then they.
Yeah.
Meh.
And all this time, you were watching the gigs, but you were also pursuing this graphic design.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so,
Well, during that time, I had a baguette.
just one baguette,
Just one that whole time.
and it obviously was memorable.
It was very long.
It was a good long
It's
baguette.
the longest baguette.
Okay.
I at some point they started doing gigs at the Hen and Chickens.
By the way, it's pronounced Geigs.
Is it?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Sorry.
When did they do? I think when Noel was doing that thing with Chris Addison, Lee Mack was like a little comedy claw. What was it called?
Oh, Club Zarathustra?
No. It was that year, but they used to do a thing together. Like 6 new comedians would do like 20 minutes, half hour each. I think.
Okay.
It was called something.
Okay.
I can't remember what it's called.
And
Kenny.
this was around 97, right? 96, 97?
Yeah, I think you were there. That was maybe your first one.
I did a show
Is that
at the Pleasance.
before you did? Because you were doing when you did
I
Mighty
did,
Boosh, you were doing something else at the same time.
no, but this is
What did you do
the
with Sean
year
Cullen?
before.
Sean Cullen was there.
No, I didn't do a show with him. Would you stop it? No. I did a show that opened for League of Gentlemen the year they won.
Ah.
And I would get like 4 people, and then they would sell out. So as I was picking up my stuff, I'd have all these props, and then they go, "Do you need some help? Because we've got this huge crowd here."
What
And
year was that?
97.
Must have been around that time.
Okay.
Did I meet you then?
Maybe. We might have met. And then
It was
98
obviously
was
memorable.
Yeah. Then we did Unnatural Acts.
That was with Cullen.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you did the Boosh after that. That's where the Zookeeper.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's where I basically met you, was when we started doing the live stage version
Yes.
and the Hen and Chickens and
Yes.
all of that.
There you go.
And then
Do
you
you
were
want to
hanging
explain
out.
to the people in the camera what the Hen and Chickens is?
The Hen and Chickens was this small pub, which really was small. And they hosted these nights. We would do basically the Boosh show the first half. Or wait.
Second half. First half
sketch.
was just
Random sketches that you wrote 5 minutes before the show. And then the actual show was the second
practicing
half.
for this. Yeah.
And all the costumes would be crammed into the back and you could barely move.
Yeah,
It's like-
making them all in the day.
Yeah.
And we used to go to that cafe over the road and all panic because we had 2 hours of an evening to fill and nothing.
And remember the Bob Fossil safari suit used to be brown. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Because I thought it was yours, was it?
No.
It was yours.
Whose genius was it to make it blue? That just feels wrong now.
I think
Rich.
they just felt that blue was the best color. They always wanted blue.
brings out your eyes.
Baby blue.
Little
yeah.
blue blanket boy. You used to say that a lot, didn't you?
Yeah.
Why? Why did you say that a lot?
Because it was alliteration, yeah.
Oh, okay, sorry.
What was your memory of me when you met me?
Just
Right?
one of the most fucked up people I've ever met.
That's you.
I don't know. I'd never met an American.
Right. And I was really loud.
I was really racist.
Yeah,
so I
yeah.
hated you immediately.
I
You
kind
were
of knew it.
doing, yeah. I mean, you were just this ball of energy. I don't think I'd ever seen anything like it. This
Okay.
crazy lunatic that never said the same thing twice,
That was my my thing.
which was great when you were trying to learn lines. But you are, Mighty Boosh, 3 of you. Yeah, that was amazing, right? That was like, because they were doing. Did you ever do anything in Dehems, around the corner from here, upstairs in the Dehems Club? There was a Dutch bar called the Hems on just by Chinatown, and it was a comedy night upstairs, and that's where they first started doing the Zookeepers as a live.
Well, they did the Zookeepers in Unnatural Acts too. Yeah.
But it was always crazy seeing on a stand-up night everyone doing 10, 15, and traditional comics standing up doing joke, next one, joke.
And
there was people
like,
I think like, some big comics who are like known for their one-liners, and then Noel and Julian would turn up dressed as Zookeepers, singing "Hello Little Dear" and doing Cerebral Brooks, and people were just like, "What?
I remember.
The actual fuck is this?" But it was brilliant. In a way, it was just so.
Initially, it was like, because I remember the first time we did it, like when I was involved, and I came out and did this kind of monologue, like, "Hey, what you doing out in the woods?" And I just remember these people going. Slowly, their jaws would open. They'd go,
"Am I in the wrong?"
Martha, should we be going?
But that was the most brilliant thing. I then did Auto Boosh, right? Because then they did Arctic Boosh together, just the two of them, on the second Edinburgh show they did. And then the third Edinburgh show was Auto Boosh, which I did with them. So it was the three of us. And we did when you're doing those warm-up gigs and you're going to some of these little theatres, like remember Winchester Art Centre and stuff like that, where you're trying to do like a 2-hour show about a hitcher and a road trip, and you've just got 4 nanas in the front row because they haven't advertised it and people thought it was a different night, and you're just getting feedback. I remember one show there was only 4 people in the crowd and they were all above 70.
You get nothing from those shows about how you're doing anything?
We were getting feedback mid. Like one of the old women put her hand up in the middle of the show and we stopped and she's like, "I don't really understand what's going on. Is that character one of those?" And we had to sit and explain it to her.
That's good, though.
It was a great night.
And then carried on.
Julian just punched her in the face.
Uppercut.
They were soul destroying.
So, but you didn't really get a feel, like the first show in Edinburgh was like, I'd already done pretty well in the pubs and stuff. It started to get an audience, but it wasn't until then, that first at the Pleasance.
They got best newcomer, didn't they, that year?
Yeah, and it was like,
Who won that year?
God.
Al Murray won that year.
I think so. Now who's the nerd?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I never called you a nerd.
Well, I called Barry a nerd in the previous podcast.
Is he a nerd? You've just ruined the thing now. What if these go out? This isn't going out to 2028.
No, they're not. It doesn't go out in... It does go out in order. The order that we do it. And I don't get haircuts in between.
You look funny in the intro, the song. Did you burp again? How many? Are you on a burp count, Kenny?
About 2 burps.
2 burps today? I
Put down 2.
You got really short hair in the credits.
Yeah.
TalkBox.
Yeah.
It's a good song. Did Westlake do that?
Yes, Dave Westlake. Yeah. Why don't you tell people who Dave Westlake is?
I've never met him.
Okay. So
Dave Westlake was at university with Julian, and he ended up being our drummer in the Boosh band.
And he was a drummer for
Sneaker Pimps.
Mm-hmm.
Famously was asked to be Beck's drummer and turned it down because he thought the Sneaker Pimps were going to
explode.
And Beck, who's Beck? What's he ever done?
Beck who? Right. When we were doing it, did you have any idea that, maybe this will get on television, or what was your trajectory here? You just
Did you
thought...
just use the word trajectory?
Yeah. It's
does
short
that mean?
for ejaculation.
All right. My ejaculation was that I don't know what I thought. We were just dicking around with my mates.
See, that's the thing now. We were just talking, me and Barry.
Yeah.
How today...
Humphreys.
People have a career path in mind a lot of times, whereas we totally were not thinking about that, at least initially.
I guess I was in this zone where, when I came back, when I started doing Auto Boosh with Noel and Julian, I'd just been traveling around the world. I'd just been working on the Barrier Reef and just dark.
What were you doing there?
I was pretending to be a clownfish for tourists. I was learning how to dive, scuba dive.
So you're a licensed scuba driver?
Oh, driver, scuba driver. Yeah, I sit on a diver's back and drive him.
So you could save somebody underwater if you had to.
Do you know what? Do you want to hear an interesting story, an anecdote? This would be good on Parkinson.
How long is it?
It's about 45 minutes.
Right. This.
Kenny. My brother got to very high in the diving industry, and he was a trainee for instructors.
It low? Don't you go?
He got really low in the business. He took Leni Riefenstahl, who is, do you know who she is?
The German documentary filmmaker.
There's been a film made about her recently.
Yeah.
She was a very keen scuba diver, and at the age of 94, she went out to Papua New Guinea on the boat my brother was working on and did a scuba dive, and surfaced and ran out of oxygen and passed out and was in front of my brother, passed out, and he had to give her the kiss of life, and he brought her back to life.
How old was she?
94. And he said to her, because he was running the whole trip, he was the trip director, he said, "You're not diving again for the rest of this trip." And she said, "Young man, I'm 94. If I choose to die on this trip, I will do."
Young man, I'm a Nazi.
Anyway, he told this story. And I said, "You realize she was Hitler's girlfriend, right? You've kissed the same lips as Hitler." And he had never, it never crossed his mind.
Was she Hitler's girlfriend?
At one point, they went out. They had.
Was this before Ava?
I don't know. Anyway, he ended up getting Hitler's cold sore.
Kenny, this is going straight onto YouTube. Just go right home now. Cut this. Go home. Put it on YouTube.
There's no one there. He got Hitler's cold sore, and it grew like a little. No, he didn't. But that could have been funny. He kissed the same lips as Hitler.
That's wild. Did he describe the kiss? Was it nice?
He wrote a book about the kiss.
Was their tongue? Was their tongue?
Thing is, I don't know if you've ever done CPR.
Yeah.
Kenny, can you put up on the screen how to do CPR, because it's important that people know?
Did he do this?
But you don't use a tongue in CPR, Rich. I mean, I don't know if anyone's ever stopped breathing in front of you, but...
Have you ever done it?
Kiss someone with their tongue?
No, CPR.
Oh, no. Thankfully.
But do you know how to do it?
I know how to do it, yeah.
Okay.
Because you have to learn all that stuff.
For scuba.
Scuba.
So you were doing that, and
yes. And then they did. Noel and Julian came over and did Arctic Boosh in Oz at the Sydney Comedy Festival. It was like the first time it was ever. And so I ended up dicking around with them and getting in some costumes and dancing around and mucking about.
This was 1999.
Yeah, 98, 99, something like that.
Yeah.
And then they did some in Melbourne, and I met them in Melbourne. Hi-Fi.
Wait. So you did Hi-Fi in 2002, and I was there doing a separate show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Separate but equal.
That was when you did Mum, I'm Not a Lawyer.
Yes. Wow, there's a lot. This is already like, what? How many years?
Do you think people are watching this on times 2? You know, when you speed things up?
Yeah. What do you mean?
Because I can go a bit quicker if you want. And then I met Julian, and then Julian met Noel, and then I did
Zip.
So you say so. I love how you say so when you're trying to. Have you noticed this, Kenny? When he's trying to work out what's saying.
Am I?
So.
I told you to cut out so.
So you should edit. Someone on YouTube have cut all your so's together.
So. All right.
Do you remember when we did Eleanor, and you used to say, when you couldn't remember your line, you used to say, and then.
Yeah.
Oh, Rich.
You're
funny.
Dave directed Eleanor, the tour whore, the stage show.
Rich hates me. You see in his face, there's a little bit of trauma there.
No, but the thing
that was a good show.
The thing that I wish you had seen was the show I did in L.A. was the best of all of them, and you weren't there to see it.
But I'd got you there.
Yeah, you got me there.
You wouldn't fly me out, would you?
No, because I think it was just 2 nights. I had
It got great at the end,
Mm.
but the trouble is everyone had seen it until the
And they hated it.
up until that
Yeah.
point.
I know. We got there in the end.
It's a good show.
Yeah.
Eleanor, I can't. Can we allowed to talk about Eleanor? Or have we gone too far in the?
Wait, we got to stick with the journey. We've got to stick with the journey.
You know, films aren't always. Have you seen Pulp Fiction?
Yes.
You can start at the end.
That
and
was
go back.
Okay. But I don't want to do that.
All right.
I want people are very slow who listen to my podcast.
Ouch. You hear that? I don't think you're slow, people.
No, so basically we were in Australia. Remember I tried to show everybody
You're Willie.
Curb. Yes, that too.
Oh, I remember that on the Great Ocean Road.
I had a tape of the first year of
VHS.
Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Wow.
And everybody was like, partying. And I was like,
Yeah, but
hey,
hang
guys.
on. It was the worst setup forever. Like, I know that died on its ass, but you got to remember we were on the Great Ocean Road. It was a beautiful, log cabin. We'd all been swimming in the sea. We're all drinking. We're having this amazing time. And then you just went, hey, everybody, I think this is a good time for me to introduce a new comedy show to you.
I didn't say it like that.
Yeah, she said exactly like that.
Hello, everyone.
gather round the
excuse
VHS
me.
machine. Are those levels off the charts, Kenny? Sorry.
That's all good. I'm a professional.
Are you? Why are you working with Rich then?
We work together well.
Oh,
yeah.
Sorry.
Balance.
Yeah.
So
It's a
I
yin and
remember
yang
sitting
thing.
down watching that, like you quietening everyone down, you saying this is the best thing ever.
Okay, people.
Gather round!
I've got a VHS you're going to love. No, but I stuck it in and everybody was watching for like 5 seconds.
Look, to be fair to you, we were all wrong.
Yeah, I know.
Because
It
it's one of the greatest shows ever. But
it was a bad
so
time
different.
to
bad
do it.
time. And come on, those early episodes, they take some getting into. They're
I
like
know.
a difficult album, right?
I know, but a vindication for me was Julian said years later, Rich, you were right.
Yeah, I think we've all said that. That's the
And
only
I-
time you've been right. But it's good that you keep bringing it up.
That's the one time I did it.
Yeah, I know. Fair play.
Yeah.
But it was not the right time.
I know. So we did that. That was 2000. And then came the radio show.
Hang on. That was Auto Bush we were doing at Hi-Fi, and you were doing, Mum, I'm not a lawyer, but we went away together, right? We had some time off.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry.
That was,
I was
a
trying
break.
to remind myself. And then, who was there? Oh, Chris Addison was there as well. I remember Chris in the pictures, because I've got loads
Chris
of
did a
photographs.
show about Britain.
Yeah, I can remember him in the pictures.
So
Who else was
this is something about you that people want to know. You were always taking pictures no matter where we went.
Oh,
So
picture
you have
box.
about 20 of my Willie that I'd like to get back. And on this show, I want them all.
Yeah. Blackmail. I've got some shit on everyone, mate.
You do?
I've got them in the vault.
Oh,
You
shit.
wait. You just say one bad word against me, Rich, all over the Daily Mail.
But you've done some gallery showings of Boosh photos,
I have.
which are really quite good. We're going to show a
Quite
couple
good?
underneath. Amazing.
Jesus, Kenny, he's big with the words,
They're
right?
quite adequate,
Gushing.
these photos.
You've
No,
done some
show them now.
slightly
How
above
many can we
average
show?
gallery show. You can show as many as you want.
Oh,
How are
great.
you doing that?
See, I'm going to squeeze them.
Mm.
But,
I did one recently that you came to. Thank you.
yeah,
Private view.
it was amazing.
It's good. They look great. It's
Yeah.
amazing how. I mean, I have got so many that some I've even forgotten. I took some. I'm just finding now because I've got them in. Like when we were on tour, you're just snapping away and you're just putting film in a bag or you're putting memory cards in, and you don't really get.
Well,
time
also, there were no phones then.
Mm.
You couldn't film anything with your phone.
So
So
annoying.
this was pretty much the record
yeah.
of the tour.
How lucky are you that I've got all that you've all? How lucky are you lot
Yeah.
that you've got a record of that amazing time?
Well, if it was up to
Did you ever say
Julian,
thank
you
you?
wouldn't be doing.
Have you ever said thank you?
All right. Okay.
said thank you?
All right. Officially on the podcast, I'm saying thank you, Dave Brown, for taking photos of me incessantly, of me urinating.
You were okay. You and Noel love pictures.
Well, sometimes
Julian,
what was
it's
cool,
always hard to get a picture of Julian because he's either having a go at me or eating or talking.
we'd be filming at a studio and you'd go, come here, we've got a few minutes. Come here.
Just pop your clothes on the stool.
No, and then you'd go, do this. Stick your right leg in the air. And then you
Did I have
take
a
all
camera or
these
did I just do
photos. No, it was a real improvised camera. But it was like, it was so
You used to
seamless.
always shout "picture box" at me.
Yeah.
Which is funny. This is
Talk
called
box.
TalkBox. There's a theme.
Yeah. Well, their TalkBox is in the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your dictaphone.
But
TalkBox.
what I loved
And I
about
love-
it.
That's one of my. I love that the funeral, Howard's funeral
Oh,
in
yeah.
Bollo with Blue Train.
But the thing about it, Dave,
tank.
was you did this seamlessly. You weren't really like people didn't go, "Oh, it's Dave again with his camera." It was pretty much like you took the photo before you even know it. And
I'm
then
like that with my telephoto lens on. With your mum.
but
I'm sorry.
no,
Rich.
you're wrong. Yeah.
So hot.
Okay.
Do you get people in here? You get them to sweat like a sauna, then you give them whiskey, and then
I give him
blackmail them.
CPR.
you give them special CPR, rich CPR. Why is he not coming back to life?
So 2000.
Oh
No.
my God!
No, but what, the thing
you still
about
with
it
us?
is,
I'm
you're.
talking to you. I'm talking to the people in the camera. Kenny's come down from his umpire's chair.
This has to do with your plug. You're plugging your photos, right? These
Huh?
are photos of the Boosh, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I did a couple of exhibitions in Australia last year, which were insane, like ridiculous.
What
and
do you
I
mean
keep saying,
insane?
like,
You
just
threw
so
'em out
many-
the window.
Just it was like I've got a new way of exhibiting photos. You frisbee them from the top floor, and if people see them, then they're lucky.
Okay.
And it went well. There was a lot of people turned up. There was a lot of the original people that came to see us and have seen the show, but then all, because it's so long ago, they've all had children, and all the children are into it.
We've
And
got
then,
a
but there was
tour.
loads of new people.
We've
young
got a
people.
tour.
So I was trying to say to Noel and Julian, come on!
Yeah.
Sean was there.
Yeah.
Sean turned up, our
Got
tour
a
manager,
tour.
Sean, legend.
Yeah.
He, I mean, it's just there.
Yeah. So a lot of people have had reunions already, like
Mm.
League of Gentlemen and.
Well, if only you'd agree to it, Rich, then we could do it. But why do you
I'm
keep
a holdout.
why do you
I'm
keep
true
saying
to my
no?
craft. I
Rich
want to
is
go
saying,
back
I
to
can't
the.
do it because I've got this podcast to need to do.
Well, it's a serious podcast, and I don't want to taint it
Well, you
with all the
probably-
silly
I
Boosh
guess
stuff.
now you've got Kenny to support, right? He's got family, and you can't
Kenny's-
just drop it all and go running around the world.
Kenny's in diapers right now.
I thought that was. I didn't like to say anything.
Now,
You got notes.
Dave, there's a segment of the show that I like to do called.
Hang on, we haven't got to. We're only in year 2000. Are you going to two-part me like Danny? Don't fucking two-part me, dude. Don't you ever.
I'm gonna two-part
three-part
you.
me
I'm going to apartheid
straight
you.
away. Anyway, next.
This segment's called Fill in the Blanks. Okay?
Blankety blank.
Well, it's sort of like Blankety Blank, only it's
Terry
longer.
Wogan used to be a. He used to host that. Do you know Terry Wogan?
Other than be with my family, which is the stock answer, right? If I had more
Your family.
time, if I had more time, I'd blank.
Be with your family. They're lovely. How is Georgie? How are the boys?
She's great, yeah.
Other than
They
what?
say
Sorry,
hi.
say that again. Say that. They
Other
say
than-
hi. They didn't say hi. You made that up.
Said I.
Get them on the phone now.
Other than be with my family, if I had more time, I'd blank.
I'd be taking pictures
Really?
around the world.
You just travel and take pictures. Blank is my big binge right now.
I've gone back and started watching all of the Arrested Developments again.
I've just been doing that.
Just absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. What do you think of the later ones?
Yeah,
The-
it gets a little bit. It gets a little bit inside itself.
Yeah, but it's still
but it's
good.
still incredible.
Other than Bollo, my favorite Boosh character of yours is blank.
Naan bread.
Yes! That's great. You're a
The
non-bread.
not yous were all you, right? That was our
Yeah,
thing.
I
wish we'd
said it
done
in
more.
rehearsal and we were all laughing, and then we decided to put it
I
in.
wish we'd done more. Should have done more.
I know.
People talk about naan bread more than anything.
Really?
That scene, it's not even the bit where it's not you naan bread. It's the bit later on where Vince says, "I've made some great friends," and then naan bread just stood up at the bar. I've still got the naan bread mask.
No, sometimes you'd get mad though, because sometimes you'd have to change costumes. A lot.
I never got mad.
Oh, you didn't?
I don't think so. Did
Oh,
I?
that was somebody else.
I got hot. I got hot
So
doing...
you get angry when you're hot?
Yeah, do you not?
No.
No, I'd get angry when under lights doing 50 takes because Mike's going, he's got to say 3 words and he says, "What? Hang on, what's my line? Sorry, can I have a line?"
Line.
And I've just been, I'm like, it's 400 degrees and my balls are tingling because they're going to pop.
You almost passed out.
I did
once.
pass out twice.
How many times?
Twice.
How many times?
Twice.
2
Did I say that, Kenny, or
times.
did I imagine that?
You
Do you wanna
passed
ask me
out.
again? You can ask me again if you want.
I remember, and you had a fan installed,
Mm.
and that didn't even help.
It was
Did
the. Do you remember in the Yeti chase scene when
Yeah.
we were on a travelator and the thing was moving and I was carrying Vince and it was
Yeah.
the hottest day of the year, and I went outside and I took the mask off and I put my head in some ice water and then I remember waking up with a heart monitor on me. You
my
had the
God.
heart monitor and you were trying to give me CPR with your tongue.
Of all my friends, blank reminds me the most of me.
Of you?
No, of you.
Such a strange question.
I know. Of all your friends, blank reminds you the most of you.
How long did it take you to come up with that question?
20 minutes.
Probably my brother.
Really?
Well, he looks a lot like me and he's a bit older than me.
No, but probably when he has a big temper.
I mean, I
you
think
go, "Oh,
Noel,
I do
me
that."
and Noel are very similar. Me, Noel and Nige, we spent all those
Here's something.
formative years together.
Yeah. You're both
you're in a
very
zone.
competitive. You're both very competitive.
Do you remember when we played tennis in LA?
Yes, and
He's gonna move
I could have easily
He's gonna move on.
won that match.
Rich is always going on about how amazing he is at tennis. Who was your partner?
Julian.
No, it wasn't Julian.
Julian.
It wasn't Julian. It was
Julian.
Oh God, what was his name? Danny Bennett's partner.
That was the problem.
No, he was good. He was on his tennis courts. Don't you remember?
He wasn't playing.
He was. You and him were playing against me and Noel. I know we were like not very good.
I mean, we
Should we
really
move
need to move on.
You
I
were
mean,
so angry.
You're talking
You say you're
so
not competitive, but then when you lose, you get so
Remember,
angry.
here's something I don't think you remember.
People, look at Richard's face. Look, he's trying to play it cool, but you just get a little inkling of. I think I'm the only person that's ever made you angry in your life.
No, this you're talking about the pants. But seriously, I have a right to be angry with you.
Sorry.
We were there was these fluorescent.
Oh, you're going there now. We're talking about that now.
We don't have to.
No, let's talk about it.
Let's
It's fine.
not. Let's not.
We were in Melbourne
Yeah.
and we were driving back to the hotel.
And everyone goes, you should go out to the sea.
I saw them. The waves were breaking and the
Well, someone
phosphorescence-
told me.
And so I said, "That's for phosphorescence. We should go for a swim." So we all jumped out. It's kind of amazing, and you're doing all the
It's great.
Michael Jackson, the
We're all having fun watching the phosphorescence.
I went in for a swim and I was splashing around and showing everyone.
Yeah.
But I went in my pants.
Yes.
And I came out, and I had to take my pants off because they were wet, and I got back into my clothes. But I had my pants screwed up in a tight ball, and I looked over, and Rich was probably about, I don't know. You were a fair way away.
Yeah, but
from
I was
me.
talking to somebody.
You were having a very serious conversation, trying to be.
You know, Marcel Proust.
With comedy, the what you have to do to deliver the punchline.
And I just screwed up these pants tighter than everything, and everyone saw me do it. And I threw them as hard as I could, and it went over the person that Rich was talking to. But just as it got to about there, the wind opened them up, and they wrapped around Rich's face like a bat. And Rich just went, oh, oh, oh.
If you had done that 100 times, you wouldn't have done that.
It was one of the greatest things I've ever done in my life. And you got so angry.
I chased you.
I was talking about comedy!
I wasn't talking about comedy. I was just talking. I needed some respect.
It's one of the most amazing things that has ever happened. That's one of the great nights. The phosphorescence and then seeing Rich Fulcher angry.
Yeah, that was a long day. I can't live without blank, blank, and blank. It doesn't have to be, it can be anything.
Can it? Is that why it's got a blank? Yeah. I thought it had to be something.
Yeah.
It's not an actual answer that I've got to get right. Is this a quiz show? What is that game? Is this Wheel of Fortune?
Yeah.
I can't live without, love, laughter, and chocolate.
Nice. Okay. Of all the guest stars on the Boosh, blank was the one I was the most gaga over.
Were you like kind of starstruck?
Yeah. Oh, that's the word I was looking for.
Not gaga.
Gaga.
Do you want to ask me again?
Of all the guest stars on the Boosh, blank was the one I was the most starstruck over.
You mean gaga over?
Lady starstruck.
Gary Newman was pretty good.
I knew it.
Or it might have been
Roger
Daltrey.
The horrors.
Didn't really know the horrors then, although it was great. I've got some great pictures of the horrors that I took on
I didn't
set.
really know them that well. But
I didn't, but I kind of got to love them after more.
Yeah.
Trying to think. Yeah, it would have been Daltrey or Newman. But Newman was so lovely and so, down to earth and sweet. I mean, that's what I love about the Boosh and Nolan Jr.'s writing, is that they would get Gary Newman in for a 2-second joke.
I know. Isn't that great?
And Daltrey in for a 3-second credits joke.
I've already mentioned this in another podcast, but remember when Noel suggested we just get an audience of just band members?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it would have been good. Wasn't that an idea at some point for season 4 where it was like the Muppets, and it was like a theatre, and you owned the theatre, you were the kind of manager of the theatre, and they were trying to put a show on every night, and you'd have a guest band. It'd be like the Young Ones. You'd have a guest band that would play.
Why didn't we do that?
Crack Fox would be in the back alley. Naboo would be, I don't know.
Stephen Hauser would be.
Bollo was the kind of roadie. The roof would open and the moon would be up there.
That's the best.
Would have been amazing.
Yeah.
Still not too late.
Let's do it.
Is it too late?
If you want us to do it.
But you know that it was apparently the most watched DVD box set on when DVD. Remember DVDs? You were talking about VHSs earlier, so I'm allowed to talk about DVDs.
Okay.
On tour buses. It was like everyone watched the Boosh on tour buses.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone. Paul Weller got amazed by it. Remember, he was completely obsessed with it. And then we went.
Yes.
He came to a Wimbledon gig we did. And was backstage.
Oh, let me revise the question then.
All right.
Who of all the people that went backstage?
Robin Williams.
Really?
Robin Williams.
Robin Williams.
Not Robbie Williams.
We saw him in
Robbie
Los
Williams did
Angeles. I didn't even know I was talking to him for a while. I was like, who's this guy? He's talking really fast. And it was him.
We were trying to. I remember being in the backstage of the Roxy, trying to write down the set lists for everyone because it was really thrown together. Do you remember how nervous we all were because we were told we had to do that gig, and we had nothing prepared. The same with New York at the Bowery, and the same with the Roxy. And I was trying to get everyone to get. I was,
because everything changed for some reason. Remember, we had to switch something at the beginning.
We were meant to go out for a Q&A and some DJ sets.
Yes,
and then they went,
thought it was a Q&A.
We've sold the Bowery Ballroom out. You've got to do a gig tomorrow night.
You got to do a show. It's like,
no,
what? We were just going to answer questions.
No costumes, no show or anything. I mean, it was pretty amazing that we threw that together.
Yeah.
But like, I remember being in the Roxy changing room trying to write those set lists down for everyone.
There was this
And
cue, like...
But then someone was doing Crack Fox. Someone came in and started doing Crack Fox impressions in the change room. And I looked up to say, can you shut up? I'm trying to fucking write these things down. And it was Robin Williams.
So he knew
I
it.
still said, get the fuck out. I didn't. I was like, oh my God. And then Noel, obviously, and Julian were like, what? And he's going, I love you guys. Doing Crack Fox impressions. And I was like, oh my God, I need to.
You know, in this light, you look a little bit like Robin Williams.
Now.
Yeah.
That's okay.
I would take that as a compliment.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I thought you meant how he looks now.
I would say
Dark.
yes. I was impressed by that as well.
That was pretty good.
Yeah,
but then John Paul Jones was there that night as well. Like
oh yes,
Led Zeppelin. I mean, we had breakfast with him the next day.
He was at the same
and then
hotel.
Everyone was turning up at that. And then Jeff Garlin turned up. Remember, he was doing impressions. Saying him and his son watched. I mean, there's a big list.
It.
This is like I want to do a
Billy
book.
Bragg.
Penguin want to do a book with me of the photography. It's a good plug. Kenny plug alert.
Plug.
Got alert. Whoop whoop. Is it a siren that goes off?
Can't be.
There's an idea you can do. You can take that. Yeah, so I won't charge you, Kenny. It's fine.
It's a turtle, and the shell goes up like this.
They want to do a book like the Beastie Boys book. You know the Beastie Boys book?
No.
It's just like beautiful photography, loads of scripts and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
the Boosh book,
Yeah.
but loads of contributions from other people that used to love the show. Like stories or anecdotes or people writing captions about photos or something.
Right.
But I've got to try and get all those people that all came to our show to try and...
To release?
Well, I don't know, whether to say something about it. It's hard, right? Remember when we met the Beastie Boys?
Yeah. Remember?
Was she there that night? I can't remember. I was a little bit...
Remember Billy Bragg?
Billy Bragg.
Victoria Woods?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Jimmy
Billy
Savile.
Bragg used to say Billy Bragg. That's twice
Why do
you've
I
mentioned
keep
it.
saying Jimmy Savile?
Billy Bragg said that it was the only time his family and him sat down together.
What?
Yeah, I know, it's a bit weird. So if we got to, can we talk about Stefan Underwasser now?
Why?
Because it was one of my favourite things to do when we went to a new hotel
Oh, yes.
on tour. You'd ring up the receptionist to Stefan Underwasser and say that your room was flooding.
Yeah, my room was fine. And then sometimes they would bring somebody up.
You didn't start off the conversation like that. You go, "Hi, yeah, I'm a bit worried that I can't turn my tap off. I can't do it." But then
It's getting a little... Oh, it's getting a little...
But that was your pseudonym name when we checked into hotels, right? On tour.
The first year.
So
Yeah.
Noel was Eli Cash.
Yeah.
Julian was Harris Tweed. Mike was Mungo Fig.
Yeah.
I was Jimmy Lasers. And you were Stefan Underwasser.
Yes.
What were you on the second tour?
I don't remember.
Rich Fulcher.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
It was a double bluff. They go, nobody would ever go under Rich Fulcher.
Well, it's just the receptionist said that no one ever asked for you anyway, so it was pointless.
That was so weird. We had that first meeting being on tour, and Sean goes, okay, first things first, what's going to be our names when we check in?
3 hours later, Noel's going, hang on a minute.
No, it's like, this is important. I got to think of a good name. Microphone? No. Tolly Bridgeforden? No.
Good one. Although it's
that
a
wasn't
female
that
name.
good. Why would I come up with that?
You were talking to Danny about York, weren't you? I remember that.
Yeah. So that was our first. We had that splitter van, and we went to York, and that was the first time I really thought, oh, the TV shows really caught on.
Yeah, that was
Remember?
crazy. Wasn't it? Chasing us down the road. Yeah.
And I was yelling before the show, and my voice went out because I was yelling so much.
Can you remember your pre-show routine?
I would yell at the assistant. Yeah.
I've got all them on video.
You do?
Yeah. He would come in. It was John, wasn't it?
Yeah, John.
He'd have to come in, and it was like old theatre talk, right? Front of house. What was it? 5-minute call.
What the hell is front of house?
Front of house. Every night we'd wait for him to bless him. He was such a sweet man. He'd poke his head through and go, Act 1 beginners. Act 1 beginners.
Yeah.
5 minute. 5
I
minute
am
call.
not a
And
beginner.
you'd go, John, come here. First
John.
of all, I am not a beginner. Okay? You'd grab him by the throat.
I'm a professional.
You'd go on for ages. It was so good. And at the end, he'd go, okay, that's 5 minutes.
Yeah. And then we just did it
Danced.
every night.
And we'd dance.
Yeah. To
Various LCD,
LCD
sound system was on the
systems.
playlist.
yeah, which would be called
You are the greatest
room.
dancer.
Oh, thank you.
Do you remember those dance? Two things I remember about Melbourne is we used to have we had a dance off in a bar where we pretended we didn't know each other. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, and then all
We'd
of a
walk
sudden,
across the like this kind of, and then we'd knock each other, and we were like, and then we just start. And the whole bar just watching us.
and then everybody
Yeah.
joined us.
Yeah. And then
Those
I
were the
remember
days.
Noel mentioned it recently. We were at, it was maybe Sheffield. It
Yes.
was one of those fountains on the street.
Oh no, it was coming up out of the floor, right?
We were all like joking about getting in it, and then you just
Walked right through.
walked through the whole thing, and then walked into a posh hotel lobby, absolutely soaking.
Nice hotel too.
Nice
Yeah,
hotel.
yeah.
That's why we didn't make any more.
All right. So, anything else you want to cover before we go?
I've just done another book with. Do you know Pizza Pilgrims?
That's all the time we have. No.
Can I come on after Danny's part 3? Do you know Pizza Pilgrims? Do you know those guys? They've got over the road there, pizza place.
Oh
I
yeah.
work with them, and we did a book about pizza in Napoli. And I'm
I just went to Napoli in April and ate the pizza at that oldest pizza joint.
which one? Dan McKaylee, the one that Eat, Pray, Love was in. Julia Roberts, that one. Anyway, I've got a book coming out about Napoli pizza. It's called Pizza Napoli, and that's out in the autumn.
Okay.
And I'm co-authoring it with Tom and James, who own Pizza Pilgrims.
And what's
Full of
the...
my photography.
Okay.
It's
And
about the birth of pizza in Naples. It's about Naples and food.
That's
and pizza.
great. Yeah.
Mm.
And that's where pizza was born?
Yeah.
Did it always have just tomato and cheese?
Mozzarella, tomato, basil,
Okay. And
margarita, or the marinara. That's how they started.
was it different colors for some reason?
No.
Green? Okay. All right. And you coming out with
But you know, pizza. This is a fact. Italians don't like this, but other than Naples and Rome, in the early part of the century, pizza wasn't really a thing.
No.
And when Italian immigrants went to America and then came back during the war, they introduced pizza back to Italy.
Those bastards.
So Americans introduced pizza to a lot of Italy
Wow. That's wild.
because of the war. But they were Italian. So when you go
It's okay.
You go to New York, and especially up to you go up to like the north of New York. Why can't I think of it? New Haven.
Connecticut.
They've got some really amazing old pizza ovens, and some of the best pizza. The best pizza I ever had was clam pizza up that neck of the woods. Incredible.
No, it's
You
great.
care about pizza. You love pizza.
And also the Boosh book. What's that called?
It's not out yet, but it'll probably be called Behind the Bush.
Okay. Great.
Yeah.
Dave Brown, everybody. Thank you.
Thanks, Kenny.
And we're going to do a part 2 at some point.
I don't want to do a part 2.
Okay. That was Dave Brown. Maybe there'll be time for another one down the line. I hope so. Please feel free to comment and, of course, subscribe. See you later. Bye. Love you.
TalkBox, TalkBox, TalkBox. TalkBox, TalkBox, TalkBox. It's Fulcher. TalkBox, TalkBox, TalkBox. TalkBox, TalkBox, TalkBox. Rich Fulcher's TalkBox.